Welcome into another bonus episode of Hockey Inside Out. As the Habs are going through their second losing season, the Habs fans have been engaged. They've enjoyed what this has been going through for Martin St. Louis to see this team develop here. But, gentlemen, how much patience will last for this fan base that want to see a winning product in the next couple of years moving forward?
I think it really depends. I think if the plan maintains its clarity and everyone can see where things are going, if the young players continue to develop nicely, patience will be completely fine. Like, nothing will really change. People will be willing to wait to look at the Canadiens in contender status. If they get Connor Bedard this year, I don't think there'll be any issues whatsoever with fan engagement. That'll ignite this fan base in a way that I don't think we've ever seen since maybe 1993. But if these persistent rumors that the Canadiens are going to pass over Matvei Michkov if he falls to 7 happen, and they end up taking a bigger bruiser like Dvorsky, who's not necessarily the most talented player at that position, and then next year is kind of like so, and the team doesn't really take a step, and they don't get a great pick next year either, then maybe I could see the patience wearing off a little bit as people start to get more anxious about the rebuild and the success that they'll have. But overall, I think Canadiens fans know what they're in for here, and most of the fan base understands that it's not going to be a quick flip of the switch. They're back in the playoffs next year, and all of a sudden they're contenders. They know this is going to be another couple of years at least before they get into the playoff picture and even winning a round situation. Hopefully they're not like the Leafs and it's 10 to 15 years, but I think most people are patient right now.
Yeah, I think the patience will last at least one more season, especially if they continue to play entertaining hockey, which they have been, and they continue to compete as hard as they have. I think fans go to the Bell Center and you want to be entertained, right? And they've been entertaining to watch on nearly every game this season. They don't give up. They fight back. They're beating teams they have no business really beating with all the injuries. They're losing games by 1 goal against teams that are a lot better than them. Right now, 1-goal losses are like a moral victory for this team. That'll change as time moves on through this rebuild. Ken Hughes had a good line at one of his news conferences when he said, there's so many new people in management and the analytics department, everybody gets along and it's a fun place to go to work, but pressure changes things, right? And as the pressure gets turned up, different people react differently to pressure, and the pressure will be turned up each year as we move forward in this rebuild. But you mentioned, Andrew, if they get Connor Bedard, expectations will go much higher. And if they get Connor Bedard, if the Florida Panthers end up in the draft lottery and win it, and the Canadiens get Connor Bedard for Ben Sherratt, it's going to go down as one of the best moves in NHL history. Kent Hughes could almost just retire right then and say, I'm done, my work is done here, and walk away from the job. That's up in Sam Pollock territory. But yeah, I think it depends. A lot can happen this offseason too. Kent Hughes going to have a lot of cap money to spend if he wants. They're going to have draft picks. They have 2 first-round picks. We'll see if maybe he can get a third one before the draft once the season's over with some moves. So that'll factor into how things go. But I think at least not only fans from a media perspective, we see there's a plan in place now. And it's obvious what that plan is. It's all about developing their young talent. It's all about developing what Marty St. Louis calls the brand of hockey that they want to play, allowing young guys to make mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and move on. They'll tighten up on that a little bit as the rebuild goes on. They won't be as forgiving of mistakes as they are right now, but there's a plan, and it makes total sense. And you think back to under Bergevin and previous GMs, and then a rookie would make one mistake, you're in the press box, you're back in Laval. I think one of the reasons they destroyed so many prospects is they were all playing scared. They were so afraid of making a mistake. You can't show your actual skill when that's the case, and you're more likely to make a mistake when you're playing scared and playing tentative. Marty St. Louis has let the young guys just play your game, and we're gonna, you make a mistake, we'll tell you what you did wrong, and we'll work on it from then. So I think fans see there's a plan. They see there's a coach who has a system. He has players buying into it, and that's going to extend the patience. I don't see halfway through next season the Canadiens tuning out Marty St. Louis. I think he's got their full attention. And I was talking with Chris Weidman the other day, and I asked him, I said, are you getting calls from other players around the league asking about Marty St. Louis? And he went, oh yeah. He says, they want to know, is this a real deal? What's this? Is this guy really as good as what we're hearing to play for? And Weidman said the answer to that is yeah. And he said, we're going to see during free agency moving forward and trades, Guys used to not want to come to Montreal. Now, though, you look at a Kirby Dach and what's happened with him, Monahan playing here. There's guys who are going to go, man, that might be a good place for me to go to play for that coach. That might be a good move for my career. So that's going to be something really interesting to watch during this offseason.
I think it's, for at least another year, it's going to be based on how they play, not how they finish. And everybody loves the way they play. You know, there are some original things going on with tactics. There's his ability to get the team fired up and ready to go every night, the energy the kids are bringing. And, you know, down the line, the pressure inevitably is going to exist. I've noticed something that, and when I get critical emails aimed at me, it's common, but aimed at the Canadiens, it's coming from people from farther away who aren't in Montreal, who aren't reading and hearing everything as much. And they're saying, what's wrong with this team? I thought they were going to be good this year. Kevin Paul DuPont and for the Boston Globe, who to me is one of the top 2 or 3 hockey writers in the U.S., said this morning that he was very disappointed because he thought Detroit and Montreal were going to make a move this year in the standings. I don't think anyone here thought that. And I certainly didn't think about it about Detroit either. But I think it's just an indication that Kevin isn't that close to the situation here, because if you're close to it, you know what's happening. It is a pretty good fan base. You could see the energy in the building last night. And they'll be fine for another year at least. And, you know, I actually make it a point when people say these things to me to go into the things that are happening and try to do a little bit to explain what they're trying to do, so that people, I think it's part of the media's job to make sure people are informed that the organization itself is the most transparent they've ever been, in my experience. I've been here since 1970, and I've never known a time when the Canadiens were so forthcoming. So we know what's going on, except for the medical part. We translate it, and in a way, we have a role to play in making sure that people stay patient, because they need to stay patient. They need at least 2 more years, and they need some luck. I've been saying that since the beginning. Hughes has done almost everything as perfectly as a GM can do it. Same with Martin St. Louis. Jeff Gordon, we don't know exactly what his role is, but he did so well hiring those guys, he almost doesn't have to do anything else. So just wait and see. 1 year, 2 years, but they need, the first bit of luck they need is that draft lottery. This is going to be huge, you know. Unfortunately, they got the number 1 pick the wrong year, and they may have blown it at that. But now, getting anywhere in the top 3 to 5, I think, would be delightful, because this is a really good draft at the top.
Well, at the end of the day, pro sports is entertainment, right? And fans who went to the game against Carolina, Canadiens fans, even though they lost, they left the building going, they were entertained. That was a fun game to watch. I know, Andrew, you spent a lot of money and brought your kid to, I think it was the Edmonton Oilers game, right? The Super Bowl weekend. And the Canadiens won. And your kid's probably going to, I'm not sure how old your son is, but he's going to remember that for the rest of his life going to that game, I'm sure. So it's entertainment. And if you go to the Bell Center and you're paying a lot of money for tickets, you want to be entertained. They're obviously not going to win every game. But if they're entertaining and they work hard, people work hard to earn the money to buy their tickets to the Bell Center. The least you expect is the guys on the ice are going to work hard for your entertainment dollars. And the Canadiens are doing that.
Well, if you're a Habs fan, you just have to look down to 417 and see the Ottawa Senators and how they've gone through the abyss to now perhaps making a run towards the playoffs, and how they brought back the fan base to the arena now, all excited for the Senators. So maybe the Habs could be in that route as they make their way through this season. Perhaps maybe Connor Bedard, our top 3 pick, going towards the June-July draft that we'll have coming up in the next few months. Don't forget to submit and send us your comments and questions. We look forward to conversing about that in a future episode. And check out Hockey Inside Out on YouTube and sign up for the newsletter at MontrealGazette.com/newsletters. And for full episodes and bonus content, head on by Hockey Inside Out. On behalf of Jack, Stu, and Andrew, wish you a great week. We'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.